Hey everybody, Daryl Davey here with Oaken Hollow Games down in the game room. It has been a very long time. I'm glad that I'm finally able to get a chance at, what is it, like 9:30 on a Sunday to finally get a weekly check-in after, I think, almost a month, maybe a little bit less, out. All good reasons, though, because, I mean, besides life being very busy, which we'll get to in a moment, there has been skirmish sales going on, and it's finally released to the public. There are a few copies left, so if you are interested in getting a hold of a copy of Skirmish yourself, please let me know, and we will get one sent to you. We can either pay on Venmo, PayPal, cash. I will ship to anywhere in the continental U.S. I think it's usually about $17 for shipping. If you're in Minnesota, sometimes Speedy does it for a little bit cheaper. Then if you're within driving distance for either myself or yourself, or we can meet somewhere, we can work something out as well to drop off a game of Skirmish so we don't have to worry about shipping or come pick it up. Either way. So that's been going really well. There's only a few copies left, so if you do want one, get on board now, because I can't guarantee they'll be around for much longer. And it will probably be until Christmas until I try to do another print, because our next project coming out is going to be Graveyard Smash. Yes, that's still on the docket for fall. It is a very time sensitive goal now that I am looking at what we have left of summer and everything else. This summer was far busier than I had thought it would be, which is good. All very good things. Did a lot of fun, good stuff. Camped for most of it, but that does mean I'm not here to do things, which is why, for those of you who were part of the playtesting group, we also have been doing a lot of playtesting, besides like really last minute one or two people things, or maybe we meet somewhere, or you happen to be here and we run through a few games. We have not had time for the bi-weekly playtesting that we usually do, which is why you haven't been getting updates on that either. And unfortunately, that will be coming to an end until probably the first or second week of December. Once the school year starts proper, I go back to my normal day job, and the fall musical starts as well. And it's going to be a much more labor-intensive year. Hey, Katie, speaking of, this year for the play, so those weekly tests won't be able to, or bi-weekly tests won't be able to happen until probably December, when life has cleared up a bit. But that's the boring cold winter months, and that's when all the best creativity goes because of cabin fever, and you're locked in, and you have to think of something besides the existential dread of shoveling again. But it is still July, so I'm not going to talk about shoveling anymore. Instead, I'm going to talk to you about what I have been doing in the last couple of weeks that we haven't gotten updates on. So, again, Skirmish has been selling very well. That's been going out the door. So that's taken up a big chunk of that time. We have also been doing. Let me see if I can grab it here. Gacha Ninja, which I've spoken briefly on a few times. We've been playtesting now. I say this every time, but this isn't something that I intend to have out for a while. I think the next big things after Graveyard Smash comes out this fall, our goals are going to be Capture the Flag and Plunder. Now, Plunder, we are still trying. The biggest hang up on Plunder is we are still trying to find art. I am not great at drawing clothing. Artists are still worth the money they are asking, and for the most part, we're not at that level. Maybe we could find like a nice medium ground with some artists, but we don't quite have the money in the accounts to pay an artist of quality I would want what they are worth. I don't want to underpay somebody. So we have talked about using. We have gone in circles, I will say, on the use of AI art, and whether we're going to use it, whether it's something that for the quality that we want, where it's clothing is very specific pieces. Because on one end it is cheaper, it is easier, you type in things, but the quality is not as consistent. You're not paying the art, like people who made the art, it's pulling from images, so there's that moral quandary of whether that's worth it or not. For playtest art purposes, I don't have an issue with that. I mean, people use grab clip art all the time for playtest stuff. So maybe to get it to that next playtest level, that would be something we would do. And then to show whomever works on it next the idea of where we want. I think that that's the kind of that happy trade-off of right now we can't invest that money, but here's our ideas. We're not wasting time going in circles. This is what we want. And this is for playtest. It's not for sale. You know, we're not profiting off of somebody else's art without paying for it, sort of deal. So there's that new weird moral quandary that goes around with the temptation, that hook dangling in front of you of cheap and easy art. And some of it does look very, very cool. But pay your artists, right? So that's going around in circles. That's probably our biggest holdup. Plunder has been playtesting very well. We need to get some more stuff under there. Capture the Flag came out pretty tight right away. Obviously more playtesting with adults, but it is again meant to be a travel game. It will probably be part of what we'll be calling our Playground series, which we can get to more if more come out in that genre there. But the idea for that, and probably Gacha Ninja as well, is to be portable and easily accessible. So like Skirmish, All Hallows Eve is, gamer, like I buy board games as a hobby level board game, not the most complex thing in the world, but above maybe somebody who's new to the hobby or your casual players. Takes a little bit, you need to know some stuff for it. Skirmish, on the other hand, was intentionally made to be a very quick to learn, quick to play game. A nice in-between filler games, kind of like a mouthwash, what am I saying? Palate cleanser game. In between some really heavy games, you bust out a couple rounds of Skirmish, or you're at the pub and you play it. Like, that's fun, that's fine, that's what Skirmish is for. Capture the Flag is supposed to be a play anywhere, very, very intentionally. I spoke on it a few times, but where we play at any surface. It's meant to be played at campgrounds, at rest stops, at a restaurant that you're in, so on and so forth. It's rules light, it's items light. It's going to probably be a small tin can that's easily like put in a backpack or a fanny pack or a purse that can be carried around super easy. So those two are our next big projects that I want to get out first, for several reasons, as well as continuing on with All Hallows Eve and Skirmish. We do have copies of All Hallows Eve left as well. Buy both, it rounds out to a nice $100, and then I'll throw in the costume pack for free. That'll be my, you watch the stream and you got the information deal. Yeah, so we want to get those out first. The hard thing is, Gacha Ninja's been pretty tantalizing, to get back to the point I was making. Playtesters have really enjoyed it. It still needs a lot of work here and there. I just went over the cards again to do like a redo, and I made a tracker board for this influence chart that we have. Starts at 0 and it moves up. That fits inside of a case that I have now. End game, we probably won't have this unless it's like an add-on feature that you buy. I don't think it's necessary. I'll print the trackers, but this can be on a playing card. It's nice to have a physical hard piece, but again, we want to make sure things are light enough and small enough to get in there. We're looking at coins. I threw together some... They're 25 cents on one side and a star or a square on the other side. So when you're playing, you're throwing it in, and you're not quite sure whose coins is who, which is part of the game, and that push your luck. Everyone says these will do, metal coins will be better, and I absolutely cannot argue. So I am looking to find resellable game coins that are round and have different back, maybe same fronts, different backs, or... whatever, but they have to be similar in color and maybe 2 different styles if they're the same color. Because again, you want, when you throw into that metal pot in the middle, part of the game is, if you've lost count or you're not sure, is you're eyeballing that, and you have to make a guess based on what you can see with the coins that are in there. And it's just so much more satisfying with metal coins to touch. It is a very tactile game. And the sound of the coins plunking in whenever you pay something is just, it's so nice. Everyone loves that part. So we can't not do that. So these will do in a pinch for now if it comes out to that. There are plenty of places that sell like video game, like arcade tokens, that I'm pretty sure we can resell. We can, I can't see why that would be a huge issue. Maybe we could even get custom ones, would be pretty sweet, but that would probably cost a penny, and I don't know if I'd want that extra. Because even when we looked at poker chips for Plunder and for Skirmish, poker chips are ridiculously expensive, which is a bummer because they're a ton of fun to play with. Like, they have that weight and that feel, again, that very tactileness that's fun in a game, but is not at the sales point that I can do worth it for everybody on both sides. So we don't. But that's another thing with Plunder, is trying to find poker chips too, because those are needed. Or I print them, and they just don't have that same weight. So a few things on that. And then, as I have been mentioning too, it is my goal. I do not know if this goal is obtainable, which are usually the ones that I try for the hardest, but to get Graveyard Smash out by fall. So we have Geist. I've got him painted up. I did try Zed in the see-through green, and I'm loving it. And what's nice about that too, besides just having square bases to differentiate them from the regular trick-or-treaters, visually this is a way that, without even having to paint, is another cue of, okay, those aren't trick-or-treaters, they're Zeds now. So I am 99% sure that's the way we're going with it. And then, as Steve Kruger has mentioned, painting these with that see-through inside would really make them look like candy pieces even more. If you paint out the outside and leave like the little bite marks, that's hard to tell on that one. But like this guy's got a little bite off the back there. Yeah, not focusing well enough, but neither am I. But that way you can see that like translucent, gooey inside of a trick-or-treater, and I thought that was a really neat idea that Steve had. So, yeah, a couple reasons why I think that's going well. I have also been working on art. I left them all over there. I can show you one. Maybe that'll be my tantalizing. You can see more later. I started working on more art for Geist. This is when I did last time. I got 2 other ones done yesterday. I have all the Zed art done. I'll have to double check that, but I'm 90% sure I have all the Zed artwork done from a long time ago. You can look up the posts, look through the pictures, there'll be some. Geist has stopped me for the same reason Noita was difficult, because I didn't have a clear image of what it was, and I finally settled on an image that when I'm drawing, I have to be very careful, because sometimes it looks like certain anatomy from both genders, actually, sometimes. So I have to be very, very careful whilst drawing to make sure that it's not too looking. But I love the design overall too much to change it, and it's at this point in the game, it's too far in. But there's been some complexities that have come up with it, and with both Zed and Geist, so Noita has a backstory, in my head, canonically, but Mischief and Cog were very well-developed characters for other things I had tried to work on in the past. Mischief had been something I was going to do for like a comic. He had been a costume. He's just been something I've embodied for a long time. He's the spirit of Halloween, and which way that goes has varied a few times. Cog comes from experiences working at a mill and some of the stuff that went on with that, and he was going to be a main villain in a series I was going to do called Baron Kings. which is either going to be like a book or a mini series I was working on in college. I just like the character too much to drop him. Same with Mischief. And then I needed the third one. Used to be Skellington, was like a dancing skeleton, like a victim of the dancing plagues. And then Ethan Hischer had suggested changing Ethan Hischer, sorry, I call him Ethan. Changing it to a witch, and that is what became Noita, the skeletal figure. So I have a puppet of her that I really, really like. And I just couldn't get the feel, the vibe of her with my art style that felt good. And I didn't have as great of a backstory for her besides a generic she eats trick-or-treaters to gain the, hey, Ben, their essence and keep youthful or, like, enhance her magical powers, something like that. But it was very generic, so I didn't have as much of a background for her, so it was difficult for me when I was drawing to pull like my imagination into that world and really play with it and find fun illustrations for it. I think some of the stuff turned out very, very nice. Like I had a lot, but she's not featured in a lot of the cards explicitly because I couldn't nail down a way I wanted her to look. I'm not even super satisfied with the way she looks in some of the artwork anyway. She's just a hard one for me to nail down in a satisfactory way. So both Geist and Zed also are fairly generic. All of the other ones that are coming out are much more like Cog and Mischief, where I have very solidified backgrounds and stories for them. Like I get it and I can feel it, which helps me then draw them. But Geist and Zed do not. Fortunately, Ghosts and Zombies have a lot to pull from. The Zombies are a lot easier to do because they were the trick-or-treater style, which takes 2 seconds to draw. Geist, again, has proven difficult. I've had to really work with learning hands. It's nice that they're so creepy and icky because then they don't have to look perfect. I'm like, oh, that was intentionally weird looking. Like, I purposely have, like, 2 left hands sometimes or 4 right hands, and they're all coming out in weird angles and bend in ways they shouldn't, which is intentional, but it also helps justify my lack of skill in that area. Hands are hard. But again, like a Ghost, it's hard to do a lot of different things with the designs, especially when sometimes the art changes what the card name is, because I will do a really cool art piece that I like, and it just doesn't fit with any of them, so I'll find one that it fits to, or I was trying to do, let's say, like Chilling Touch, and it's just not, I can't find an art for it. So then maybe I do an art that I enjoy and then find a way to change Chilling Touch's name that way. Like Noita, what I've had to do is shuffle all the cards for Geist and flip one over, and that's the one I'm drawing, and I cannot move on until that one is done. I've given myself like 1 mulligan if I really, really want to get past one. But it's the only way I can keep myself focused and active on that one goal, rather than skipping to the ones I like and I know, and then being like, well, I'm stuck. So it's been working. It's proven useful in the past, so I've resorted to it again now. And after 6 months of not drawing anything, I have suddenly done 4 illustrations for Geist. The problem being is Geist also has a ton of different cards that I can't drop any of the cards. So like Cog had a ton of cards compared to the other ones, but they were just 1-offs or 2-offs in his card deck. But they need art as well. But that's the last huge hurdle for Graveyard Smash. I'm going to then look into stickers, and since this is an add-on, I don't believe I'm going to do a rule book with it, but I will probably have a card or 2 with here's more details on Zed, here's more details on Geist, that sort of thing. Maybe introduce a secondary panic chart level that you can also pick from if you're playing with both games. That's still yet to be discussed with playtesting, but those are some things I'm thinking. That way it makes it cheaper rather than having to get a whole rule book. I just added on one of the cards you're going to get anyways, and that makes it faster for us and quicker. Maybe the packaging can be a bit smaller. I'd love for them all to be that size, but at this level they might not. Well, no, this one does have This one does come with new tiles, and they're reversible. So one side is the town, so it'll fit in perfectly with the other ones, just new layouts. And then you can flip it over, and it's the same layout on either side. So if it's like an L shape, it's an L shape on the other side too, but it's a graveyard theme. So if you want to play just in the graveyard, you'll have enough tiles to do that, with just the two. Or you can add it in and have a graveyard in the middle of town, or flip it over if you want it to all look similar and just have some new roads to go down. So my buddy Zach is working on those. He has the town sides done, and he said sometime early August the other side should be done, so I'll post those up. This is getting to be a bit long because it's been a while. I haven't been able to say a lot of this stuff, but I guess to come back around, what testing we have done has been going very well. I want to get a few more things where we get Graveyard Smash here and there, just to talk to a few things, but I'm at this point primarily focusing on art for Graveyard Smash and getting Skirmish out. Once those are out, then our gears will turn to Capture the Flag and Plunder, which are fairly far into development beyond, again, the issues I brought up with the card art and poker chips for Plunder. And Capture the Flag should be easy peasy. That shouldn't take hardly any work. Yeah. So that's what's coming up. There's also another secret thing you may or may not have noticed in the background that we will talk on more as well, that may be available for purchase in the future. But we'll talk more on that another time, because I have taken quite some time. So I hope you all have an excellent rest of your weekend and enjoy the not so hot, not so cold days provided for us for the next few days here. It's been a scorcher before the winter season comes. We'll find out. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I will keep everybody posted. I have been posting a lot because, again, the Skirmish sales have just been going out the door, and that's been keeping me busy with all my free time. So, yeah, I will keep you more informed as the weeks come here. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you next time.